A lot to go over here regarding the Philadelphia Eagles. Two players have been signed, and the cap space for the league has increased. The Eagles' cap space has been increased as well, and want to go over all of that. And obviously, the big coaching update finalized for the Eagles coaching roster as of right now. So, a lot to go over here. So, let's get into it.
Because I've seen enough horror movies to know any weirdo wearing a mask is never friendly.
With the combine next week and the legal tampering period in a few weeks with free agency coming next month, a lot to go over here regarding the Eagles roster. Now, the Eagles haven't released or traded any players yet as to creating more cap space, but they have signed a couple players to future deals and some interesting ones where Austin Watkins gets a 2-year extension, which I thought was, pretty fair. $150,000 guaranteed. And if the Eagles are signing Austin Watkins that has not been on this roster at all, then maybe they think that he can really contribute. If you guys do remember, Austin Watkins was a huge preseason standout for the Browns last year. He's like, 6'3", 211, could play inside, outside receiver. Potentially, this could be the Watkins that we've wanted at receiver, okay? And look what he did to the Eagles, I think, last preseason. He did some damage to us. I was like, man, who is this Austin Watkins? He used to he made so many plays on us, and he had one of his best preseasons, and then really never had an opportunity at receiver, never was really given a chance. During the season, the Eagles pick him up, and I think, Kellen Moore's going to like this guy a lot. This guy has a huge... I think there's a big opportunity here for Austin Watkins to be a depth receiver. Now, I don't know if he's going to be the starting wide receiver 3, but who knows? When these guys get to other rosters, never really had a chance, the underdog story, we could see a guy kind of rise up through the ranks of this roster and really show some good things. And I think there's good opportunity here. If the Eagles sign him to 2 years, that means that they definitely see something and they definitely think he can contribute to this offense and, could be a roster spot for the Philadelphia Eagles. And obviously for dirt cheap, so the Eagles can have a lot of production. This is a low risk, high reward type move for the Eagles. If you guys haven't checked out Austin Watkins, even what he did in last preseason for all 4 preseason games, he killed it. Did a really good job, and I'm actually really excited about this. Still think they're going to go look at other wide receiver 3s. Obviously going to need more than, 3 receivers at this point. Britton Covey's another one that can get some opportunity as a gadget, third down type of gadget receiver, something like that. But with Austin Watkins around, really happy they at least extended him and seemed like that. They're giving him a huge opportunity here and see a lot in him, and, makes me really happy because I felt like, when we did sign him, when it was just a future deal, not an actual extension, I said, man, this guy's going to have, pretty good shot, as of right now, because we haven't signed anybody else to really make this roster. And who knows, man? These guys, these guys that are hungry, that want to strive for more, could have a huge opportunity to make some things happen. So really happy with the extension from Austin Watkins at a really cheap price, a high reward we can get out of this move. And I think that's awesome. So thought that was great. Now, another signing for the Philadelphia Eagles. The Eagles bring back, and finally we need some stability at the tight end position. Albert O returns to the Philadelphia Eagles. If you remember last year, the Eagles traded like a 7th round pick for Albert O in the offseason or whatever it was. I think it was during training camp or whatever. Unfortunately, was just not used. I mean, I hate, when Howie Roseman uses draft picks for players and does nothing with them. I know it's a 7th round pick, but still, or whatever it was, I think it was like 1/7 or something, because I think the Eagles were last in the waiver wire because, the Eagles were in the Super Bowl. So you're down low at that waiver wire list, and Albert O wouldn't have lasted. He would have got claimed by another team immediately. The Eagles traded for him. And he's got, he can act. He's got so many acrobatic catches. He's got finesse. He's got route running. He's got everything. Probably the fastest tight end we actually have on our roster right now, and showed a lot with Denver. Has starting experience, and is pretty young as well. And you don't have much at tight end too. You don't have a backup tight end. And when Dallas Goedert was hurt, I mean, they didn't even. It's just like Nick Sirianni totally just wavered that position. Like, oh, we don't have Dallas Goedert, so we need to figure out a way to get other people the ball. Like, they just didn't continue with Jack Stahl having 5 catches for 30-something yards. Okay, Calcaterra, it was injury after injury after concussion after injury. And Jack Stahl is a free agent right now. So really all you have at tight end right now is Dallas Goedert. You have Albert O now, and you have Grant Calcaterra. And then they're probably going to keep 3 tight ends on the roster. They'll obviously bring in more for camp, most likely. So we'll see what happens with this. I think at this point, you have a 28-year-old tight end in Dallas Goedert that's just a liability at this point because he always misses 4 to 5 games, even though the broken forearm wasn't really his fault in that Dallas Cowboys game. But it's just one of those situations where I hated when, like, if a starter gets hurt, you have nothing behind it, or at least Calcaterra and Jack Stahl had a lot of starting opportunity the past couple years. Like, they've started a lot of games. They've had a good amount of playing time. I wouldn't say it's that much, but Jack Stahl is more of a relied blocker for this team, but it's a free agent now, so they might not even sign him back at this point. And Albert O coming in, I'm really excited that Kellen Moore is giving Albert O an opportunity because he really didn't have any. I think he caught a few balls, really nothing much. His statistics are barely even 4 catches for the year. But I think there's something there. Dallas Goedert has 2 more years left on his deal, 28 years old, hitting 30 in a couple years by the time his contract expires. Need to find that future number 1, or you're going to be, I don't think they're going to be touching on tight end in the draft at all. I doubt it. I think they go down the undrafted free agent route if they want to bring more onto the team for tryouts during training camp, and joint practices and preseason and all that stuff. But I think I've always thought Albert O showed a lot of flash. He's got starting experience. He's got everything you really want. I mean, it's just, you got to play these guys, otherwise they're not going to do anything. They're just going to get progressively worse over time when you don't give these guys a chance. And since Nick Sirianni ignored the position when it came to game plan every single week after Dallas Goedert got hurt, it just made me feel like, really, like, dude, like, how are you not trying to produce this room a little bit more? And you can't just dismiss an entire position because your starter is out. And the Eagles kept 4 tight ends last year, which was probably one of the most surprising things. They kept four running backs, 4 tight ends, 7-8 corners. I mean, there's astronomical numbers when it came to tight end, which they usually keep 3 but keeping 4. So I think they will keep 3. You have your 3 in Dallas Goedert, Albert O, and Grant Calcaterra. I really hope that Albert O turns into, I don't know, something. I hope as a starter. I think he's got a great opportunity here to turn into the next tight end for the Philadelphia Eagles, depending on what happens to Dallas Goedert the next couple years. We know that he's going to be productive this year, but you have to get Albert O ready. Kellen Moore likes to use tight ends a lot, and God forbid if Dallas Goedert gets hurt, Albert O has to go right in there, and I think we'll be all right. I think Albert O is the most athletic and probably the fastest tight end we have, like I said earlier. So really glad, seems like tight end is starting to come into full circle now that they are looking to produce Albert O as their number 2. I don't think this means he's going to be the 3. Calcaterra, unfortunately, like I said, a lot of injuries in 1 year, from a concussion to like little nagging injuries that kept him out for games. With Jack Stahl being a free agent now, you have 3 on the roster set in stone. You give Albert O another chance on a 1-year deal. And I think Albert O wanted to stay because he has a big opportunity, and probably talked to Kellen Moore and said, hey, Albert O has a big opportunity to make a lot of plays as a backup, whether they do double tight end sets, whether he's got to come in for specific plays, and how creative creative that Kellen Moore is with tight ends. And if Dallas Goedert gets hurt, you got somebody that can go right in there and play. And I think depth is a huge part of it. I think tight end is going to look a lot better than we expected. And they're giving guys a chance, and they see something in him. So it's a fantastic thing to look at, and hopefully we see big plays made by Albert O in the near future. So very happy with that. Now, interesting enough, when it comes to the cap space for the entire league, it looks like $255 million increase for the 2024 salary cap, and obviously per club, additional $74 million. For player benefits, all that great stuff. Players are going to get paid like crazy this year. That's what it tells you. But not only that, good news for the Eagles and a lot of other teams is that now the Eagles cap space moved up from $28 million, north of $28 million, to now $32.5 million in cap space. So theoretically, okay, the caps between if they extend HaasonReddick for $11 million, a Byard post-June cut is $14 million, Avonte Maddox post-June is $7.1, a restructure on Jake Elliott's $1.8. A Dallas Goedert restructure is a little over $2 million. I mean, there's so many moves they can make, especially those two big cap ones with Byard and HaasonReddick. The Eagles can have $60 million in cap space. It's insane. The Eagles never really have that type of money. So the Eagles get a little bit of an increase in their cap from 20 to 32, and plus the other moves that they even haven't even made yet at this point. The Eagles could put some serious money on that defensive side of the ball. Not saying they're going to spend $60 million, but they potentially could sign two free agents with that type of money. Two big free agents with that type of money. I think they'll sign one and sign some mid to high tier guys, maybe one more player. That's not on the most highest cap number, but definitely a lot of wiggle room to do some things with obviously draft picks, a first, a second, 2 seconds, a fourth, I think a third, a fourth, or a third and 4 fifths. I mean, they got a lot of picks. I keep forgetting the third and fourth round picks, but they got 4 fifth round picks, a lot of ammo coming to the draft, and they got money behind it. So trades could happen and free agents could be coming to the Eagles. So we'll see what happens, but that's a really good number for us. And cap increases, and the Eagles will have more wiggle room around to make other moves, and potentially $60 million in the books. Man, the Eagles never have that, and hopefully they spend wisely. But the Eagles have not touched their own roster yet regarding specific players, like I've said before, and we'll just wait on that till the tampering period begins for free agency. We have the Combine next week, so there's a lot going on between this month, next month, and obviously, the next 2 months, really, between March and April. So excited to see, what happens. And because, to be honest with you, I have no idea what the Eagles are going to do. I have no idea what the plan is. I obviously see the plan of what they're going to do with their own roster, but who they're going to sign, who they're going to give big money to, the draft and all that stuff. It's all a big question mark right now. And, free agency or this tampering period in a few weeks will kind of designate what they do in the draft. But having some money like that behind them at $60 million, if they free up that much, even $50 million, even a little bit over $50 million is still a fantastic number, to do some things that you wouldn't expect to do. So can't wait to see what Kellen Moore does. Can't wait to see what the players that Vic Fangio brings in. I think it's really exciting. So the Eagles signed 2 players in Austin Watkins. Albert O returns on another 1-year deal. And, the cap space is increased, and the Eagles get more cap, and you can have a lot more cap. You guys let me know in the comment section what you guys think about Austin Watkins on a 2-year deal. Albert O, does this solidify that Kellen Moore, knows that there's something with Albert O and wants to get the best out of him and knows he can get the best out of him? And yeah, you guys let me know what you guys think, and I'll see you guys on the next one. Shicks, what up, false up. Peace out, guys. Peace.